All right. Welcome, body odor sufferers, to another Friday night interview. With me, I have a person named Chris. How are you doing?
Good.
You doing good? Well, I know you. It took some time for you to come in. It was a yeah. You were busy with your family and stuff.
Yeah, we went to some store and we got caught up in traffic
Mm,
on the
I know.
highway. There was an accident.
Oh, okay. Because I was thinking like it was raining. It's raining right now for where I'm at. I don't know if it's raining in your location,
No, it's pretty cloudy, but it's nice.
but going to your location, like where are you from?
Colorado,
And how old are you?
32.
Okay. Now, when I had a conversation with you, you were telling me that you first had it when at the age of 12 or 13. Can you explain that a little bit more, or at least for the audience?
How I noticed it?
Yeah, how it first began.
Okay.
Uh, well, yeah, I'll let you just go with it. How it first began, what happened within the following weeks, because in my experience, I couldn't detect it, but for your case, you could detect it. And
Yeah.
within the following years, for me, like it was still hard for me to believe, grasp it because I couldn't smell it. But in your case, it's different. So, like, what was your first experience when you started to figure out that you smell bad or whatever?
I was 12. I remember getting up for school, taking a shower, and when I got out, there was just it's like I woke up with this weird smell. Took a shower, got dressed, and just the whole time after the shower, it was like a weird musty smell. And so I got on the bus. I still smelt it all day, but at the same time this happened, it's like my breath too.
Mm.
It like everything just changed. Like I remember being younger in school, I never had bad breath, never had an odor. I was like, I don't know, like the crazy kid, like sports, sweating, talking, like nothing affected me. So from one day, like everything just changed. And then I remember the first class, like I was just smelling this weird smell and my breath was like bad. At least
Mm.
I think. And that's how it started from just waking up like that.
And you never really told me that you had like halitosis as well. So can you taste the smell too?
Sometimes I do taste something weird. Like I'm always chewing gum, like to try to hide it, but I'm trying to always drink water, just keep my mouth like moist, I guess. I guess you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. So it doesn't get
But yeah,
dry and make it even worse.
yeah, yep. When it's dry, it gets worse.
So since you could smell it, I guess I'm assuming all the other classmates could smell it, and that's when it started to
Yes.
become a big problem.
Yeah, when I was 12, like this happened like at the end of the first trimester. I remember going to school like normal, like nothing was wrong. And then I just go to bed, wake up the next day and it was completely different. And yesterday how I told you when I was looking into it, I guess it can happen for some kids when they start puberty. So I
Mm-hmm.
don't I don't know if I started that day and then my body went crazy and yeah, I just went to bed, woke up and there it was.
Mm. And I wanted to ask you, like, I would assume like you would go to your mother like that week, because for me, like, it took me a year or two for me to feel like it's something that's not hygienic. Is not like, I still naturally thought, oh, maybe I should just wash myself more or whatever. And then once that started not work, then I went to, my mother or family members. Like, when was the first time you went to your family members, asking if you smell bad or why
I
did you?
I never did. Like like I finished that whole school year like it is rough, man, really rough. And then the next year I went to a different school and I could only make it maybe the first trimester also. And like I said, I was faking the sicknesses just so I wouldn't go, and I started ditching so my mom would pull me out. I wanted to tell her, but I couldn't.
Why
So
couldn't you? What made you feel like you couldn't?
I don't know. I mean, like now I regret it, but at the same time, it's like knowing what I know now, like nothing can be done. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So I went on like that, and I told a couple friends during my teenage years, and they told me that it wasn't true, but I don't know. It was crazy.
I wanted to ask you, like, at the age of 13, what year was it at that time?
Um, I don't know.
Was it 2000s, late 90s?
I think yeah, 2000, late 90s.
Mm. So, I mean, you said that you would fake sick just to stay home, or just to go to the doctor's hospital or stuff like that.
Just to stay home. Like there were kids uh that said, like one time he said he shit his pants, and like I've always been an active kid, like playing sports, soccer, at school. I always get sweaty, and once this happened, like everything changed. Like it was just a disgusting smell, and being in
Mm.
them hot, tiny little trailers at school, it wasn't good. People would say stuff, and I don't know, it started making me sweat even more, have anxiety, and
But you
I
did have
just
your friends with you, and you're telling me that your friends couldn't smell anything. They acted normal. They didn't see. They didn't.
yeah, yeah, it was normal. Like I don't, they never told me anything, and I never told them like what was going on. But
But
like
they
we would only meet up like outside to hang out, or like at school at lunch and outside. You know what I mean?
right. But they
Never
must have
really sat
overheard
next to them.
something. But they never mentioned any comments. Someone saying certain things about you, whatever.
Mm, I don't think so. We were mean to each other, man. I mean, something would have been said, but I don't know. It's like some people can smell it and some can't.
Mm. So,
But when I was faking them sicknesses and stuff, my mom thought it was something serious, so she had me go do that camera down my throat,
mm-hmm.
and then that came back uh good. Then I had to do the one, you know, the camera in your anus.
Rectum or
Yep.
yeah, anus.
And then that one was good. So then I don't know, we came to the conclusion it was like my nerves, I guess, like that. I would get like nervous and like want to puke, So I don't know how she got this recipe of this. I would smell this stuff when I'd get nervous, and it would actually help calm me down. It was just
Mm.
lavender, ginger, and peppermint in 1 ounce of water, and it actually helped. But that's just what she, I guess, found out, is it was just my nerves. But I never told her the real
Mm.
reason.
And you told me that you didn't even finish middle school. You actually dropped
Uh-uh.
out. I
Yep.
don't know if it was eighth grade or seventh grade.
Seventh. It was after that first trimester. She took me out because I was missing too much, and she started to homeschool me, and then I did maybe like a week's worth, and then I just quit doing it, and she quit checking up on me. Like I lived with her, but she didn't really keep up.
Right. And
But
isn't
yeah, I was 13.
I don't know if this is a thing, but maybe this is just in my state, but I think it's sort of like illegal to actually drop out until maybe you're like 11th grade or 10th grade, or but maybe in your area or in your state it's not. You can just
I I think it is. I think it was 15 or 16, but I think she had got a hold of the school and just said she was gonna homeschool me. And I remember I probably did it for a couple weeks, and I remember taking one test to see where I was at, and I just stopped doing it. Yeah.
so like wow, like at the age of 13,
13,
you
home
just
alone.
yeah, you're just home alone. You don't really have any responsibilities. Like,
Nope.
what were you doing? Because I don't think you can get a job at 13 or 14 or 15. So, like, what were you doing within these couple of years?
Just watching movies. The Flintstones, one of my favorite movies on VHS. We had a lot of movies, and that was pretty much it. I'd wait for the friends that I had that still went to school with my little brother to get home, and then I'd go outside. We'd play basketball. It was like everything was normal once he got home.
Mm. And your friends never questioned you about it?
I just told him I was sick.
You should tell them you were sick. And what about your little brother? I mean, how
Um,
did he
I
feel about?
I've been really close with my little brother my whole life. It's always been like me and him, and he says stuff like I stink and this, but I don't take him serious. But I mean, I know he's telling the truth, but I've never told him.
Oh, so he can detect your odor.
Oh yeah, yeah, we're
And
real close.
and I know you have other siblings. I think you said you had a sister who's older.
Yes, and then two older brothers.
And can all your siblings smell you, or is it just like your little brother?
My sister, I know she can. She always talks crap, saying stuff. Oh, you stink, this and that. And my older brothers, I haven't really been around them too much because they're like in and out of prison.
Mm.
But yeah, I don't think they've ever said anything.
But could your mother smell you?
Yeah, she said a couple things, a couple times, and I don't know. I never, I kind of just laugh.
Well, when this was happening at the age of 12 or 13, did she ever react to you? Did she ever make comments about you smelling bad or anything like that? Or was when she made comments, was this like later on in your life?
Um, there was one time we went to it was a graduation, and it was just me and her. And then I remember I was sitting right next to her, and I was just hot and sweaty. Like I sweat so bad, it's gross. But I remember she's like, somebody smells like sweaty ass. And, and I knew it was me. So I kind of moved away from her because we were at the edge. I was sitting on the stairs,
Right.
and, but I don't know if she would have said anything because, like, she knew how active I was in sports. And I'd probably just, to me, kids are sweaty and stinky anyways. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, and I don't really
they're
think
playing hard.
that's really going to be like a TMAU specific odor because since we were already sweating, of course you're going to smell sweaty and whatever. And you told me you have hyperhidrosis as well, where you have excessive
I'm
use of
I'm pretty
sweat
sure, man,
excessively.
because I sweat so bad. But like
Right.
what I smell honestly is like crap. And people have said, "Did you fart?" This and that, and throughout the day, for me, it just gets worse, really bad.
Now, does it get worse because you're outside more, or does it just get worse just throughout the day, regardless if it's cold, regardless if you're just you're sitting calmly in some place,
What
it still
what
get
I
worse?
have what I've noticed in the winter, it's different because like it's colder. I can put more clothes on, so I don't think it's as bad in the winter unless I start sweating and start working like hard at work. But right now in the summer, just throughout the day as it goes on, it just gets worse.
Right. Yeah, because the sun's out more. And I don't know, I think Colorado has they don't they is it a pretty hot type of state?
Um, it can be hot today and then it could be a flood tomorrow. This weather's crazy out here.
Mm,
But lately it's been in the 90s, and yeah, like if I don't sometimes during the day I'll be in my truck a lot even if I don't like work on something, start sweating like regardless at the end of the day it's the same as if like I was doing something.
right. Now,
It's
I'm
crazy.
really interested in hearing your story. Like, how'd you? Because a lot of people, most people don't know your occupation, but you say you're an oil pump. But I'm curious about like the steps from you being a teenager to now getting that job or getting that job later on in life. Like, after a while, I would assume that you got a job. At what age did you get a job, or you thought about getting a job?
Um I 15. My mom's always been manager of like certain stores, and there was this dollar store, and this one guy owned it, and so she was the manager. So she was taking me to work with her every day. Like still not knowing this, I would keep my distance, and then from there she got another job at a different dollar place, and then it was one point in time it was pretty cool. Like I was 15 and I was doing the cash register. I was in that store by myself. It was pretty cool. She'd go to the bank, do her errands. Like I knew how to run that store.
Oh, and you would get paid too.
No, I would just go with her so I
Oh.
wouldn't have to be home. I would help her stock everything. It was pretty fun. But I
Mm.
would keep my distance, and even then, like, yeah, throughout the day it was, I don't know, disgusting smell. But
And it would
then
probably be hectic because if you're a cashier, that means you have to interact with customers. They might
mhm,
come close to you and they'll say, "Hey, what's that smell?" or they might rub their nose or do whatever reactions when they're close to you.
yeah. And then my next job was fast food
Hmm.
when I was 16. And one person said one thing one time, like, I don't know, I stunk. And but I don't know if anybody could smell it because we were around food all the time. And from there,
Mm.
I got into that warehouse job when I was 18 with my friend, and that was the worst. Working in production, you're just sweating all day, moving. That was the worst place ever to work with this.
Yeah.
Bad,
I,
bad.
and I've heard like there's a couple of people who actually have warehouse jobs, and I heard that at least from some people that it's not as bad because they always work in a certain area and usually within the warehouse you're by yourself just doing a certain task,
That's
stocking things and stuff. But I guess you were
that's
like
how
moving
this
around.
was. Like it was, I would run a machine. I knew how to run a few machines there. I was there 7 years, but we were able to have these big warehouse fans, and I had them on. The second I punched in, I turned that fan on, and I was standing in front of the machine and just, it was making roof panels, metal panels.
Hmm.
So once they were done, we'd have to cover them up, tape them up, and then, it's just physical all day. You're just moving nonstop. And yeah, the fans helped, but it's just all day sweating. It was so gross. Like the job I have now is way better. I'm by myself. Nobody. I don't really interact with anybody unless I have to help somebody or they come help me.
Mm. And you said you were at that job for 7 years
Yeah, 7 years.
and it was terrible. You never thought about like leaving or trying to find another position?
Um, like honestly, having this in from what it's done to me is like it kind of lowers your confidence. Like to go up and talk to somebody because like I know my breath stinks. I always have to have gum, or walking up and you stink. Like I just always, I don't know, just kind of took what I can get, if that makes sense with the
No,
jobs. Like
yeah.
my friend got me in. I was like, yeah, that's cool. And I liked it, but I know I could have exceeded more if I didn't have this issue. I was there for 7 years. I knew how to run like 6 machines out of 10. The second I quit, my younger brother, who I trained there, can do those machines. And then he ended up becoming a supervisor. And I always joke with him saying that, he took my position. Like if I didn't have this, I guarantee that that would have been mine.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I feel like with this condition, like there's just a lot of this job discrimination, whether people know it or not. Like there's like a number of situations where you should have got this position or you should have gotten this job, but since they don't want to hire you because you smell bad or whatever, and they don't want to be close to you, so they just get somebody else that's not as good or something like that. I feel like when I go to like interviews or something like that. There's some times where I feel like, man, I should have got that job. But I think one of the many factors is could be just like, they just didn't want to be around me. They felt like I smelled so bad, and so they didn't want me to get the job. So, I completely relate to that. And I also wanted to ask you, have you ever thought like within your teenage years to ever go back to school or even now, like I don't know, getting well, I guess you can't get a GED because you have to finish you had to
um
finish middle school.
I mean, I thought about it, and my sister would tell me go take night classes. It's just like, honestly, like the thought of a classroom gets me nervous. Like sitting down somewhere around people, and then I'll start sweating, and then if I already have this smell, like to me it intensifies the second you start sweating. And yeah, I can't.
Well, I got a question from the chat, from beautiful brown chick, and she asked, how was he getting jobs without a high school diploma?
I think it's just knowing the people. Like when I was 16, the manager told me, she's like, um she was big on education. She's like, you need to go back to school. And I kind of lied to her. I said, all I need is money to get a car, and then I'm going to go back to school. I said I need a ride there. So that never happened. She was mad at me. She would always, you know, tell me I need to go back to school. But I think I like, I've always been a good worker, like
Hmm.
I guess they made me full time. Like I would um like 5 to close, 9 to 5. Like I had long hours for like that age. And then the metal warehouse, when I was 18, my buddy was there, and it was like, it was one of them places where half the people there were like fake papers, you know what I mean? So I
Fake
mean,
papers?
yeah, like I'll give you an example. Like one of my buddies, like he was working under a different name. Like that's what that place was big for. Like, you know what I mean? You ever heard of that?
Mm. Why would they do that?
I don't know. Like it's big in
I,
Mexico. They come over here and they buy people's, I don't know, social securities, and they start working under their names.
mm. Okay. Um,
But anyways, but yeah, he was there for a few years. He got me in, and then like I told you before, this job I have now, my cousin is he was the supervisor, and he brought me in, and I think it was a guarantee because he told them all about me, and I did the interview, took the drug test, and I got in.
Now I do want to talk about your cousin little bit, because you told me that he was the one who introduced you to your wife. So first, let me ask you this: can your cousin detect your odor?
Um, he wasn't the one. It was my wife's younger cousin
Oh, wife's
who
younger
intro.
cousin, and
Yeah,
he was
she was.
working at the warehouse or working at the oil job.
No, my cousin is the one who works at the oil field, but how I met my wife is through her female cousin on her side of the family.
Oh, her female cousin. And
Hmm.
how did you know her female cousin?
Just the area we lived in, like
Hmm.
school, going to school together, stuff like that.
Well, could she smell you?
I told her about it, and she said no.
But you feel like she could?
Yep.
Mm. And my thing was, I found what I found interesting was the fact that, you know, I guess I don't even know. Can you like explain how you got in contact the first time you met your wife or the first time you got in contact with your wife?
Um.
At what
It
time was that? Were you in the warehouse at the time or were you doing the oil
Yes.
field job?
The I was in the warehouse. I was really close with her younger cousin,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know. She started texting me one day telling me that stuff about her. She wasn't doing good because she moved away to a different city,
Mm-hmm.
and we were just texting about her, like, and that was it. Like we started texting, and then eventually we like called each other. We talked for a few months, and I did tell her about this before I met her, and that's how it happened.
And I know you don't really tell too many people about your condition, right?
No, no. Just before I did this, my wife, like, I don't know, she still thinks I'm crazy and I don't have it, but like they don't know how you know your own body, you know what I mean?
Right.
So I don't know.
Yeah. And I find it interesting too, since you were talking about, just your odor. You told me like when we had a little conversation that you can detect it if you do a certain motion with your head, you can smell
Yeah.
it. And
So if yep. Okay, so when the day I woke up and I had this, like right when I got out of the shower, I put my head down and then I put it back really fast and I get this gust of something. That's how I always smell it. Like I honestly don't know where it's coming from. I don't. Like I told you, like I smell my clothes. To me, like I don't know, just smell stinky and sweaty. But what I smell is like crap. You know what I
right.
mean? And I don't know. I've smelled all my clothes. I don't know.
Hmm.
What's crazy is when I was a teenager and like I don't know, at one point I got sick of it and I remember taking a shower and I put so much shampoo in my hair and I was just scrubbing my head with the comb. I was like really upset and I remember my head started bleeding because I had no idea where it was coming from. And I was just so mad. I was just scrubbing it with the comb and I put my hand through my head and I had blood,
Wow.
you know. And then I don't know, I just remember before going to bed, like sometimes I would cry and be like I don't know, talk to God, I guess, stuff
Hmm.
like that. And why me, like I don't
Yeah.
know. It's crazy. It's really crazy.
Yeah, and it's because it's like you don't have the answer to it, and at the same
Hmm.
time, it feels like it's some paranormal shit. It feels like it's something that is out of your realm of knowledge or understanding, and it's completely frustrating at the same time. Um, I did want to ask you too, like, within your teenage years, did you ever try to go to the doctor, or what did they say? What did they report?
I never went. Never.
Did you have insurance?
As a teenager, not that I remember. I
Hmm.
remember having insurance when I was working in that warehouse, but I still never went, no matter how disgusting it was and how I felt. Like, I don't know.
What, well, when did you have an insurance? Did you have insurance once you got into the oil field job?
Yeah, now I do have insurance. And um are you able to post the results that I sent you?
Yeah, I can't. Hold on a second here. I can do that sort of.
Maybe
I,
somebody will know what it means, but it does say on there like there's a mild deficiency in the trimethyl whatever.
well, explain the doctor thing.
Okay. So from that date it was 2016. So like I guess that year I got sick of it. I couldn't take it no more. So I went to the doctor. I started eating healthy. Like at the time I weighed like 280. I did really good on my diet. I was like, okay, maybe if I lose weight, it'll go away. Because I've heard people say fat people stink, whatever, blah blah blah. So I got down to 230 from 280 in about 5 months. Like I was dedicated, working out, eating really good. Went to the doctor, told him about it, and he had no idea, or he never seen anybody with it, but he knew about it. So I
Mhm.
explained to him. He told me I didn't stink. He's like, but you can do a urine test. So I went ahead, I did the test, they sent it to the lab, and he called me with the results, said it was normal. And then I started looking into it online, and it says you need to have a dose of choline before you do that test. And I told him that. He's like, well, you can redo it. And at that point, I didn't want to waste another 250 just to go pee.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, you were telling me since you're in Colorado, I know Children's Hospital of Colorado is the main one that actually do the choline stuff, or at least do the TMAU testing.
Yep.
Right now, if the viewers are able to see it, he gave me a picture of the results that he got from the TMA, and there's like a TMAO, creatine, urine. And there's a lot of numbers. I don't know what these mean. I don't know if you
The
can see it, Chris.
That 90, yeah, I can. The 91.4 thing, he told me, he's like, if you have it, he's like, that number should have been like 50 or something. He's like, you're normal. And I was like, there's no way.
Yeah. And another thing is like it's funny because I have conversations with a couple of people who did the TMAU test, and now they're saying, okay, first thing you have to have like some type of like high sample of choline, and then you have to take a urine sample, like several urine samples throughout the day, and then you're supposed to put like you have to put it in like dry ice to keep it cold, and then you have to
Hmm.
do like overnight shipping. Like there's so many different other steps you have to do in
Well,
order to have like
here,
a secure
here,
urine sample.
I was able to just to take the doctor's note to the hospital and do it, and then they would send it to the bigger hospital in the, I guess, 20 minutes away. But I don't know if it matters. Like that day, I was like trying to fast because I didn't want to go into the hospital all stinky. But
I mean,
I,
I
I,
think
I,
that was the best. That's the best time to do it.
yeah, I do notice that like I try fasting every now and then, like just to have nothing in my stomach, and honestly, it don't make a difference. I mean, it does, but the second you eat something, it's like kind of bad. It's like it just comes out your pores. Whatever you eat, you just stink. The meat's really bad for me. Eggs, I love eggs. When I was big on the diet, I guess like a lot of healthy foods has choline because I guess choline's like I guess it like helps brain function, and I didn't know it's in a lot of stuff like broccoli and all the good stuff that you need. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, and I'm glad we're talking about diet at the moment. You just said that meats and eggs make you
Hmm.
smell worse, even though you do enjoy eggs. And
Hmm.
yeah, there's a number of vegetables that do have choline. I don't know all of them,
I've
but
looked
I
in.
do feel like most vegetables or stuff don't really have that much choline compared to meat. I
Yeah,
don't think so.
there's a lot of foods that have choline. I used to have a list, and I was like, okay, well, what can you eat then?
Right.
And
I mean, you can eat rice, brown rice,
there was the
lettuce.
video I seen on YouTube of a girl, like they went to her house and they talked to her about it. She had the condition, and she was like vegan pretty much, but she ate less than what a vegan did, and she said that her symptoms were like mild, but she couldn't get rid of it, you know. And I do know, like, if I eat junk, then it's bad.
Well, what does your diet consist of now?
um it depends. Like sometimes I'll do good for like a week, like a salad and some vegetables, stuff like that. And then other than that, like being in the oil field, I'm close to like a burrito place or sometimes a hamburger, stuff like that. Like, but I do drink a lot of water. I try to drink more water than what I eat.
Well, since you can smell yourself, um, I think you would know when something is working or not. Has there ever been any type of diet that you tried that lowered the odor,
Never,
or supplements you have tried?
never, that chlorophyll. I don't know how you say it.
Yeah, chlorophyll.
The green capsules. I take those every day. They seem to help. If I don't take those, then I notice a big difference. So I try to take those twice a day. They're 100 milligrams, but I take them once in the morning, and I think that's it. I told you I tried charcoal, but I didn't like the charcoal once I started looking into it, how it can absorb the vitamins and like nutrients that your body needs. So I quit taking that.
Well, it's funny that I was asking about supplements because I do have a comment from the chat from Beautiful Brown Chick, and she asked, has she tried any supplements and or probiotics? So have you tried any probiotics?
No, I've heard of those, but the closest I got to those was probably like the yogurts. You know how they say they put them in, stuff
Yeah.
like that. And but no, I never actually went out and got some.
Hmm. But at this moment, I guess you don't really eat like a low choline diet, even though you do feel like you have TMAU?
Hmm. I'm pretty sure I do. I kind of just I kind of just eat whatever I want. Like I've come to the conclusion that you can't get rid of it, and I don't know. What worries me is like how bad is this for our insides? You know what I mean? Is it just like just the odors? You know
Right.
what I mean? Or like it can it lead to something worse if our body can't break whatever down? You know, like where does it go? Like I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be any major health uh, conditions. I don't know. I'm not an expert, but I don't believe there is actually. I've heard that since we can't break down TMAO, we have a less likelihood of getting like heart disease or something like that because we can't, or something. I think I've read some
I
article.
heard that. Yeah, I think I read that too.
Yeah, so I don't think it's going to act well. Technically this disease is healthier for us compared to just being normal, but at the same time it's like socially it's a bad thing. It's one of the worst things ever.
It's very bad.
So I know you said we were having a conversation and you were concerned about, you have kids and you were concerned
Hmm.
about the possibility that you might pass this on to one of your son.
Yeah, like and when I was looking into it, I started looking online like crazy, and I found, I don't know if it was a video, somebody was explaining something, or I was reading something to where I guess from what I got out of it, my dad has this gene and my mom has a certain gene, and if they collide, I guess it that can cause it. And then I also read that there's two different types. Like one, I just have it, and the second, it can be passed down to my kids, and I just hope that they don't get it.
Yeah, so you're talking about like T-Mal type 1 and T-Mal type 2.
Yeah, yep.
Mm. And I know, well, I want to ask you, like, do you, I know you say that, do you enjoy your job as an oil pump? Because I know you're by yourself and stuff, but have you ever considered like long term, like just doing this for the rest of your life, you know, and just being
Um,
by yourself? Does that make you, are you satisfied with the life you have at the moment?
at that job, sometimes it has its ups and downs. Like it's boring, but it's cool because of what I have. Um, but I don't know. I don't know. It's good days and bad days, but for right now, like I like it. You know, I mean, nobody messes with me, nobody bugs me. Like I'm doing really good there.
Yeah, and you told me you're doing so good that your cousin wants to actually promote you to like a supervisor role.
Yeah, he's been wanting to do that for a while. Like, but I don't know. I just push it off because of this. You know, I'd have to talk to bosses more, be in meetings, and I don't know. It's just being around people that close and in a hot office. Like, yeah.
Oh, the office is hot.
Oh yeah. The only bad part of the job, like I told you, was I, in the mornings you walk by everybody, but I just get my clipboard and go to work, and then the end of the day is actually the worst, from 2:30 to 3, sitting in the office with everybody all hot doing our paperwork, and then like I said, I'll go around outside to the time clock to avoid everybody just to punch out.
Right.
Like I try very hard at the end of the day to get out of that office. I'll go put gas in the truck, clean the truck, throw stuff away. Like I just try to avoid. I do my papers and get out. But
Mhm.
one thing that like I don't regret like anything, my kids, anything, but I do know if I didn't have this, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. I told you, I loved school. I always had A's and B's. Um, I don't know. I just see myself going to college, graduating, having a good job. Like I don't think I'd be where I'm at today. I
Well,
know it.
I think you stumbled upon a good topic, an interesting topic. So, if you didn't have this, where do you think you would go to career wise? what would be your aspirations? Would you try to pursue?
Um, I don't know. I would say a lot of stuff when I was young, like I believed it. Like I would say I wanted to be a cop, but now not anymore. I remember telling my mom I wanted to be I don't know what they're called, whoever builds houses. I told her I wanted to build her a house and probably an office job to be honest. Like I don't know. I just if I had it though, I know I wouldn't be, you know.
Right. And technically, you can have an office job with the oil filling position that you're in.
I can.
Well, didn't you say you would actually work in the office?
Oh
In
no 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 no! It's like it'd be a supervisor out in the field. Like
Oh, out in
drive
the field.
around if somebody needs help, go help them or take them apart, something like that. It's just the meetings and being around the bosses, having to talk to them. That's the
Right,
thing that kind of gets me. So I kind of avoid it. But I have like the knowledge of one being there so long.
right. How long have you been working at this job?
In November, it'll be 7 years.
Damn, another 7-year job. You know,
Hmm
it's funny because most people can't. I want to say most people. Some people can't even like stick around for a year. You work at jobs for 7 years. You know,
the
that's gonna be.
metal place was rough, man. Man, like we had to punch in at 6 o'clock there. I remember waking up at like 4:45, 5 o'clock, and I lived at the time 30 minutes away, taking the highway. But I had to shower every morning. I have to. Oh, I wanted to tell people my routine. Just I mean, it helps, but so what I do is after I get out of the shower, I dry myself really good, and every day I put baby powder in between my thighs and like on my butt, and then I put deodorant all over my from my kneecaps up front and on my back too, like my butt down, the deodorant.
Hmm.
And it helps and but still I mean still there, but
Yeah, some people also use like body oil to mask their odor. And I also hear people use like baking soda to because I know baking soda brings your pH level down. Like if you use baking soda under your arms, it brings the pH level down to a level where it's hard for bacteria to fester. So some people actually use baking soda with their soap in order to bring their pH level down, so there's not going to be as much bacteria that might be on their bodies. So yeah,
well
there's a number of
well
different
what's
methods.
crazy is like I don't know, like my armpits never stink. Like
Hmm.
I told you I tested it, it's gross, but I've went days without deodorant and I don't know, they just never stink. And when I put on deodorant, my armpits they smell really, really good. Like I'll get compliments from my wife, and then I'm always drenching myself in cologne and people have told me before a couple of times, "Oh, you smell good." And I'm like, "Yeah, just wait."
Well,
I don't know. I don't know where it's coming from. Kind
yeah.
of just giving up on it, man, and I just do my routine every day, take the chlorophyll and see what happens.
And let me ask you this. Do you feel like from the age of 12 to now, it has gotten worse, or do you feel like it stayed the same?
No, I think it's gotten worse over time. I think
Hmm.
when I was a teenager, like I don't know, it was pretty bad in school. Maybe it's the same. It was just a different scene. You know what I mean? But
Hmm.
it was bad in school. And now, like once I start working and start sweating, and it gets so worse and disgusting. Like
Yeah, and
I'm in my work truck right now. I got cologne, I got body spray, but hmm, I don't know. It just makes the smell even weird, good and bad.
another thing that I find so interesting is the fact that, like, in your teenage years, you just decided to just said, you just like, fuck it, I'm not going to school anymore. But now, like, at least in your, I guess your late teens to 20s to even 30s, you stuck to a job for like 7 years, even though you probably had a lot of bad days. Probably more bad days than when you were
Um,
in school.
yeah, every day, honestly, every day was a bad day. I think just because I was getting money working, like, I mean, the good thing was that fan. I think that fan helped me a lot. There was one time when we were working crazy hours, and I think like I walked by this guy in the fan, and he unplugged it. I think I almost killed him. People would tell me there that I stunk all the time, and I knew it was true. But like I've always been such a hard worker, like just fast, working hard, getting stuff done, just always moving there. Like I like, yep, it was just bad.
Hmm. Well, I know. Have you ever? Do you read? I know you read some things, some articles about the TMAU and stuff. And apparently, there's supposed to be some type of pill or something that comes out. I don't know if it's going to be next year or the year after, but apparently, this is going to reduce the amount of TMA, or at least mask it, I believe. So you probably smell less. Have you heard about that?
No, I'm subscribed to this guy on YouTube. I think he's in college. I don't know his name, but he was doing some podcast. He wears glasses and he's always wearing a hat. But
Oh,
if I
TMAU up.
remember, who?
TMAU up.
Yes, that guy. I think his one of his videos he was saying there was a pill that he was gonna try, but you had to order it because it was in a different country or banned somewhere. But that's like the only thing I've heard of some kind of pill.
Yeah, I forgot what that pill was called. It was like a lot of hype around that for just a small time because some people were saying that it helped them. But I don't know. I never tried it. I don't even
Yeah.
know. Oh, good.
Oh no, go ahead. Go ahead.
All I was gonna say is I don't even know if I even have T-Mal, because I actually tested negative for T-Mal too. Um,
That's so crazy.
I did a urine test and I just it came out negative. I just never thought about saving the paper that you have. Um,
I
so
stared at it, man, and I was like, "What?" Like this guy tells me no. He smelt me like drenched in cologne, and then the other time I seen him, I was like, "I'm just gonna go in there all nasty after work." And he's like, "No, I don't smell anything." I'm like, "Oh my god." There's
and
some people that have such a sensitive nose, like right away they put their finger up to their nose. Some people start coughing because it's like such a musty smell. I don't know. It's bad.
well, I got a comment in the chat here, and Harden54 asked you, how did you get such a strong mind to keep going in spite of the adversity?
Oh, um, since a teenager or now, what do you mean?
I guess for now.
For now, my kids.
Mhm.
And I have an older stepson. His dad was a bum, never in his life. So I kind of had a family early on. When I met him, he was 6, and that's about the time when I started that warehouse job. So I was always more responsible than most of my family.
Mm.
But
Yeah.
yeah, like now it's just my kids. Like if somebody says something now, I'm just like, screw you. You know, I just look at it this way, like I wasn't asked to be born. So I mean if they have a problem, I mean they can do something, if they want, whatever. But I don't know, man. I just feel like I've always been like just I guess how they said strong minded. Like I don't let stuff affect me. Like I don't really get emotional because I've been through all that. Like I honestly, one point in my life in my teenage years, like I would think of killing myself for having this.
Mm.
That's at the time when I was scrubbing my head all crazy, crying myself to sleep. And I don't know. I just another thing that my mom told me when I was a kid, I don't know if this just made me independent or just strong hearing her tell me that. I remember when I was a kid, she always told me never depend on anybody for anything. She's like, you don't need a woman, you don't need anybody. So I don't know, like that phrase always runs through my mind. Like, I don't know, maybe that's, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
But
Maybe.
yeah, for the most part, my kids, and I mean, I can't change it. I've tried dieting, really good diet for half a year. Symptoms were the same. Tried fasting to eat less food, same thing. I I don't know. I just deal with it.
You know, I just spoke to a person just recently today, and he was telling me that he originally thought he had TMAO as well, but he did something. He went to the doctor. I think he went to a dentist or something, and found out it's completely different. Even though like he was confirmed to have TMAO because he had high TMA levels, it was like something completely different. Once he discovered he went to a dentist or something, and he found out that he had some type of I don't know. There was something wrong with his mouth or something like that. There was some type of decaying something. And once they removed that, he found out that, he didn't really have TMAO. It was something else that was increasing, giving him this fecal odor and giving him this high levels of TMA buildup. So I don't know if the funny thing is like we still don't know. There's so many different it could be so many different reasons why you smell. And I don't
Hmm.
think there's really enough research into this thing as to why we have this odor, why certain people can smell it, why doctors for some reason can never smell it. It's just it's
Certain
still an
people.
anomaly even to this day, and I don't know. It's very frustrating.
You
Um,
know how you said the that guy's test was high for the trimethyl whatever. Like the doctor told me that if I had it, mine was a 91 point something. He's like, your level should have been in the 50, but he really knew nothing about it, like nothing at all.
right. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, because I would think if you had it lower, that means you don't have it. But apparently, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know anything.
Oh, there's something I wanted to say. I remember, I think last week the call-in you had, she said something that she read that getting sick or some kind of sickness or virus or something can cause this. Do you remember that? I
Sickness
think
or
she
virus
I think she was on the last week's talk show,
talk show. Um,
your interview, the Friday night interview.
a sickness. Maybe I don't know. I don't
Well,
recall.
she had mentioned it, and I started thinking like I remember going back to when I was 12. I remember 2 weeks before this happened, going camping with my family, and I remember my cousin made these hamburgers that were like raw in the middle. So I don't know if just hearing what she said is making me think that that caused it. You know what I mean? Because
Mm,
now I'm remembering that after I went camping, like I got sick, diarrhea. Like I just don't know if it's true because it's been so long. And once I heard that, I remembered I went camping 2 weeks before, ate his cheeseburgers, whatever, and I just can't remember. But it made me think like maybe I got sick from that. You know what I mean?
yeah, because
I don't.
I always wanted to actually ask you, could you recall anything that happened before you
That
got
was it. That was as soon as I heard her say that, and it just came back to my memory. I said I ate his undercooked cheeseburgers that were all bloody and raw, and like from what I remember, I got sick. Like I'm pretty sure I got diarrhea and whatever stomach ache, but then something else tells me it's just I'm putting that in my head because of what I heard.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, but before all that, that was the only thing. Before that, my life was perfect. Going to school, I love school. Yeah, yeah.
Hmm, that's actually interesting. Maybe because because I've heard stories of people being sick and then taking antibiotics, and then they had this condition, and then they started smelling bad. I've heard things like that. I've heard stories about women becoming pregnant, whatever, and then after the pregnancy, they start getting like halitosis. I heard a lot of strange things like that. So it makes me think a lot of it is like gut related. Because let's
I
say you
yeah.
did have like food poisoning or something, maybe that does affect your gut biome. So maybe that I don't know, because I don't know. I mean,
It's crazy. Yeah, I mean, I honestly like as of now, like I quit looking up information. I quit looking into it. Like I got it. I just move forward for my kids. If somebody says something, I mean, like I said, I wasn't asked to be born, so whatever. Hmm.
I do have a question in the chat. A person named Soldier of God asked you, "Do you smoke or drink?"
No. Uh I I never been a big drinker. I mean, my dad was a heavy drinker. Him and my mom would always fight, and I always told myself I didn't want to end up like him. I just never liked cigarettes. But I do notice like sometimes I'll have a puff every now and then if my friend has one. But I do notice once I smoke a cigarette, that smell intensifies. It's weird. Like a cigarette sets it off even more, especially a
Mm,
cigar. But and then drinking, when I drink, I start sweating, and then I can smell more crap, sweat, whatever it
and
is,
it's
and
an instant smell. You smell it like minutes after.
the second I start sweating, it's like the sweat hits the bacteria on my skin or something, and oh man, it's disgusting. Like it's just a cloud of you name it. I
Mhm.
try very hard not to sweat. The only time I like to sweat is when I work out. Like
Right.
that's it. Like I feel really good, and I'll go hard if I work out, and when I do, but that's it.
Let me ask you this. Have you ever noticed that once you work out, and you take a shower, you smell less? Because that
No,
ex
nope.
experience with me. Like if I don't know, I go bike riding, whatever, and I'm sweating because I done it for 30 minutes and I take a shower, I get less reactions as opposed to just not exercising at all. Has
No, for me, I honestly I take like coldish warm showers. If if I work out in the morning and I'm sweating bad, like I read into it, like I guess your sweat glands are already open. So when I would go and try like a hot shower or too warm, it like intensifies that smell. So if I do ever I rarely do, but if I ever want like hotter water before I get out, I put it like almost to cold, rinse my body in cold, and that seems to like slow down the sweat coming out. You know what I mean?
hmm
The shower, like yeah, I sweat in the shower if it's too hot, and then it's just like a gross, musty, disgusting smell in the shower. The hotter the water is, the worse it is.
Yeah, I've heard that if you take hot showers, it opens your pores up even more
Yes.
as
Yep.
opposed to
Yep.
cold showers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I hate taking cold showers, but so that's why I still take hot showers.
I mean, I do warm, but sometimes, I mean, sometimes it feels good to take a hot shower. So if I do, I just slowly start taking the handle to colder and colder and colder. And in the summer, I'll just put it to cold for like 3 seconds and, start breathing real hard and then get out because it's so cold. But it actually helps though, like slow down because I notice when I work out, like I'm breathing hard, like my body's like, I guess I don't know, hyper, and I still sweat. I don't know. I think it's because I'm fat, whatever. I just always sweating.
Mm. Well, I do want to ask you this. Let's say if someone feels like they can relate to your story, is it okay that I could post your email address?
Oh yeah, that's fine.
Okay, hold on a second here. And we are winding down here. So I do want to ask anybody in the chat if they have any questions to ask Chris. This is time to ask him. And Chris, do want to ask you this. Let's say there's somebody who watches this and they feel that they relate a lot to what you're saying. Is there any final thoughts or insight you would like to give to that person?
Whoever said that I was, what was it like, mind strong?
Oh, strong-minded?
Yeah, strong minded. I mean, that was pretty cool because that's how I try to live every day. Like I wake up, I just don't let anything affect me. Try not to, and just move forward. Like there's nothing you can do. Like I don't let people's comments get to me. You know, I don't know. Just I guess be strong.
All right. Be strong.
Be strong.
And at this moment, I don't see any other comments or any other questions. Well, I do appreciate you, Chris, for coming in and telling your story. Um, and I do appreciate the chat for coming in, people who are in the chat for coming in and asking comments or asking questions. Um, but right now, this is the end. This is Friday night, TMAU PATM body odor interview number 22. And we are out of here.